Hello YouTube, this is Darc Vigilante bringing you another Diablo 2 build video in which I have coined the phrase Auramancer. This is a aura using Necromancer. Now, some summon Necromancers use Beast, as I am here, and this build isn't entirely different from those builds with all the little minions and everything, but I think I've put a little bit of a different twist on it, and we're going to check it out and show you guys so that maybe you guys can come up with a better way to do this, or perhaps you think my build is good and you'd like to experiment with it yourself. Consider this a 1.0 build or like a beta build or whatever you want to call it. It does work, it is hell viable, you can certainly kill Diablo, Baal, and anything else that you need to kill in this game, PvM. So just keep that in mind, that's what this is primarily for, is PvM. Definitely not PvP, especially with the way that we're running this character. Without further ado, let's take a look first at our equipment. We're using a Beast Berserker Axe, and you could pretty much use any one you want. The stats don't matter too much. Obviously getting more strength is going to be better because that will mean less points into strength so that you don't have to put them elsewhere, or excuse me, so that you can put them into vitality. I'm using Trangs kind of for the faster cast rate, but more for the curses and the cold resistance, because this character build has a really hard time with resistances, especially without Anni. As I'm playing on ladder, Anni is really hard to get right now. Very expensive, and honestly, in my opinion, not worth it for me to get at this moment. I will add one later. 2 Stone of Jordans, or Sojas, Arachnid Mesh for the belt. Marrowalks, again, you're going to want to get strength and dex as high as you can so that you don't have to put those points there. You could put them in vitality instead. We have a Dream Troll Nest, and that's part of the Auramancer theme here, is that we're going to run 2 dream items. We're wearing Enigma, and Enigma is to keep all your minions together so that they can attack one monster at a time, and that may not seem very efficient, but it actually is, because they hit really hard when you keep them all together. Any roll is acceptable. You're going to want a really low strength. I do suggest a Dusk Shroud or a Mage Plate so that you can keep that strength level down so that you don't have to put, again, more points into strength. Dream Bone Visage or Visage. Again, with the aura theme that we're going with here, we have to have that extra damage from the dream. We have a Mara's Kaleidoscope for our amulet. On the Switch, we just have a 4 BO CTA, obviously get the highest one you can afford, and a random BO Spirit. On our let's go to inventory before we get a Mercenary. We have a lot of resistance charms on our inventory, along with a torch, and I do have some GCs, but the key here is we need enough resistance charms to max out our resistances at 75. So you'll see here I've got kind of an eclectic mix of different SCs, GCs, 10%, resistance charms, stuff like this where it's 13, 16 life. Basically whatever you can afford to get, whatever you can get your hands on that works. And the more of these that you can get, the more summon skill GCs that you can get, the better off you'll be. So resistance is very important to help keep us alive, and so we don't get one-shotted, obviously. For the Mercenary, we're definitely going to want Infinity, and arguably I think Infinity is hands down the best Necromancer weapon there is for a Mercenary. Personally, I don't see how you could argue that. You could run a Pride, but I don't really see the reason for that. I'm going to show you in a minute why that is. My solution to that is to have both, and you'll kind of see what I'm getting at in just a minute. So he's using Infinity. Cryptic Axe is better overall, has less requirements. It's going to cost you a little bit more. They're a little harder to find, but if you can't afford it, go ahead and grab that. We're wearing a Dragon Archon Plate. Number 1, it gives me strength so that I can go without using Andariel's helmet. Also, it's giving me yet another aura, a fire aura. He also casts Hydras upon striking, and his weapon can get Venom when he's struck, a 20% chance for that as well. So that's all pretty decent. You could swap this out for Fortitude. You could swap this out for Bramble. There's quite a few different options out there that you could switch to, but if you're going to run the type of build that I'm running, I don't really see Bramble as being very useful, because we are going to run an Iron Golem here in just a minute. I'll give you a look at that. And we also have a Ethereal Dream Visage or Visage. Again, because we want more auras, we want more damage, and we want to just put that out there so that we can do that. So all Eth, because obviously Eth items don't break on Mercenaries. So if you can find those in Eth, awesome. You will see that our resistances are not maxed out as a result. That is kind of detrimental, but the Merc doesn't die that often, and honestly, if your Merc dies, just go revive it. It's not that big a deal. Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt, but to me, it's not that, it's not that big of a problem. Next up, let's take a look at skills. And the reason I have all these filled out for curses is for lower resistance. That's the one we're going to use primarily. As we're being an Auramancer, we need their resistances to be lower, and we're topping that off with infinity at the same time. That's going to break most immunities, not all, but it will definitely help us kill stuff a lot faster. In the poison and bone spells category, really the only thing we want is corpse explosion. And you'll see that I have a little bit above, probably 2 points above anything else that I have in there. So I did put a few points in here just so that we have some extra range. And then obviously the bread and butter of this build is going to be maxed out raised skeleton, maxed out raise skeletal mage. We want 1 into iron golem, 1 into summon resist. I maxed out my golem mastery, and I'm going to show you why. And of course maxed out skeleton mastery, that's pretty much a given. So those are our skills. And then last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and show off this creation of an iron golem using an ethereal pride. And this is very expensive, but this is going to be one of the ways that we can create concentration aura using an iron golem. I know this is not going to be for everybody. I know that some people are be like, wow, that's crazy that you have that much extra stuff that you can do this. But it's just to give you an example. It's just to give you like the ideal situation for this build so that you can do the most damage without any other character in the game. So let's go ahead and make this bad boy. Okay, and there's our iron golem. Now, a couple things to consider about the iron golem are that he can disappear. So the things that you want to be careful with to avoid the iron golem from disappearing is you want to use teleport and not run around too much, because if he gets too far behind, sometimes he'll just disappear and he'll be dead. The other thing is that you want to be real careful to have lots of plus to skills on your Necro, so if you use a lot of the same gear, that'll help as well. And last but not least, obviously having the Golem Mastery is going to be a big deal because it gives him way more health and it gives him that nice attack bonus. You don't really need that, honestly, but it does make a difference in terms of damage. So let's go test this out. Let's go take a look at this real quickly before I let you guys go. Get some battle orders and whatnot going here. And our primary skill is going to be corpse explosion. Like, that's not, that's not really a surprise to anybody, but that is what we're going to use. And you basically just cast your aura, or excuse me, your lower resist, and then as soon as something dies, you start popping that corpse explosion, and it will drop stuff like crazy. So, show you a little bit more here. Oh, I didn't go over the stats, so let me go over that. I'm sorry, guys, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but just like to show it off. It's a lot of fun to play, and it's not really that different from any other summon build. It's just, it's enjoyable to play because it's different. I haven't seen anything out there that uses this particular way of running the Necromancer. So, and I know I'm not teleporting, but I'm not trying to go very far either. The Iron Golem's not going to get too far away from me because I'm not moving very fast. But if you're going to go long distances, definitely use teleport so that Iron Golem doesn't disappear. Plus, you want to keep that concentration aura always activated. The more it's activated and the closer that he is to your skellies, the bigger difference that's going to make. So let's go back to town and we're going to take a look at our stats, and then we will call this video good. So here's our stats. Basically very, very simple. Max out your resistances, use enough strength to wear your equipment. The only reason I have that much strength is obviously because of Enigma, Beast, Marrowalks. These are all providing strength. My base strength is 77, so that if I do die and I need to pick up my body, I'll be able to use the Enigma and I won't be strength glitched to not be able to use my equipment. All the rest of the points are going to go into Vitality, and I have around 2,000 life and around 700 mana with battle orders activated. So hope you guys liked the video. I know I kind of jumped around a little bit, but I was just a little excited to show off the Golem and show off the the build as a whole, and I think it's very effective and it's very fun to use. So hope you guys enjoyed it too. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up or a like. Please share this with your friends. As always, subscribe. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.